it has different components. So one thing is stepping out of autopilot and being present with what is in a curious way, so non-judgmentally, and also in a kind way, looking at whatever the experience is and accepting all there is. That's for me kind of the essence of what mindfulness means to me. And then when you are applying it, it means that you're fully aware of what's happening in every situation and every interaction with others. I think it's important to take aside a certain time, let's say 5 to 10 minutes a day, to really practice dedicated mindfulness. But if you don't have time, you can just take a deep breath, or maybe 3 deep breaths, or just like the way to your meeting, to your next meeting, you walk mindfully, or you have a mindful lunch. So it's very easy ways of how you can practice mindfulness. Drink a sip of water mindfully. I would say it's aligned with how I actually want to act in the moment. And very often, especially when we have to act fast, we put out the first thing, which is not always aligned with how we want to communicate. Also, as a when you are a person who communicates, the question is, how do you want to show up as a person? How do you want to encounter other people that you communicate to? How do you understand and empathize with them? All that has to do if I step out and take the time to understand that. And for me, what was really interesting about mindfully doing communication was I was doing it totally differently when it was more aligned with how I wanted to show up. Instead of thinking, oh, I have to be right, I have to get right, or get this right, I started to listen more. That was one of the things, Very often as communicators, we think we have to only communicate, but actually the first step is to listen, to deeply understand what's going on. I think it also, again, starts with myself. So first of all, I have to be able and have the capacity to practice self-leadership and to practice the way of behaving that is aligned with who I want to be. And then I can also treat others differently. But I need to be able first to step back in that moment when I want to go into autopilot doing whatever I did before and act differently. So it needs to be a conscious choice, if you want to say so. And that choice we make every time again, because not every time we can make it. Sometimes the emotion is too big and it's just overwhelming us, and then we react in a way that we maybe didn't want to. And so my suggestion here is to be, again, aware of that, aware of, oh, I said it this way, but actually I didn't want to do this. And then be honest to the other person and say, you know what? I actually wanted to listen to you, but I figured, looking back, that I just gave you some advice. Can we do this again? I think there is a business case, because culture and a culture in a company is a driver for success for every company. So if we create a mindful culture where we empower each other, the output will be differently. But obviously measured in numbers, what's really interesting, a company like SAP, they actually introduced the Search Inside Yourself mindfulness program into their company, and they found a 200% return on investment. So they actually really measured it in numbers. But even if just your employees are more happy, that will create a different environment, that will create a different way of working, and people will notice that. So for me, leadership is to inspire others. And that's for me something everyone can do. Everyone can just do the first step, find an area of influence and just go for it, and in that way inspire others. Actually, I would say inspiration is a better way of leading others than putting pressure or just being the boss. And also, so to be a leader means for me to be of service to something bigger. And that's not me and what I'm doing, but it's the bigger picture is the team, and to be of service and step out of their ways. And really, and again, you need mindfulness here to step back in moments when when you actually act in a way that is not of service as a leader. And I'm not saying that that's an easy thing, but knowing that and then stepping back again and saying, no, I want to, empower people instead of telling them what to do. That's something we can practice and redecide every second